What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today I want to change things up a little bit on the channel, and I've decided to do a complete video breakdown of NCAA Football 07, and not just in one video. I want to do a full series. I'm not one of those that are... A lot of people think I'm completely protective of 06, and I think 06 is the best of the bunch. But I want to explore some of the other games, and if you remember a few months ago, I done a video on NCAA Football 2004. That was a lot of fun, but I want to do 07 because it's the closest to the feel of the gameplay to 06 than any other one. And I think I played every single one of these. I think the further you go on with these games, the more wonky they get, the more lazy EA Sports gets with some of its effort they put into it. And I think 07 is as close as you can get to 06. So I've just decided we're going to do just a humongous series on 07 that may lead up to like a Dynasty in 07 down the road. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do alternating videos. I'm going to still do my Mississippi State Dynasty with 06. And every other video, I'm going to do an 07 video that breaks down whatever. Today we're going to do an overview of the game itself. Just some tidbits on some thoughts that I had on a lot of the little smaller things in the game. And hopefully that'll lead into something cool. Now, I'm going to go into this as a clean slate, a fresh mindset of a video game. I've played this quite a bit, but it's been a long time since I've really put a lot of time into it and try to break things down. It's got its pluses, it's got its minuses. Every game does. I'm going to go into this instead of being standoffish, with 06 and saying, okay, this isn't as good to 06 or whatnot. There's just a lot more positive to this game than what I originally thought. And I just want to do a deep dive into it. I don't want to miss out on anything. I love 06. I feel like I've proved my point with 500 plus videos of how awesome 06 is. But I also believe a game like 07 has a lot of good stuff as well. So we're going to break down at least a overview of it, a macro view, if you will, of some things. So going forward after this video, I want to go into some more detailed stuff. So let's cover the basics. I jotted some notes down of some things I just kind of want to talk about today. Now, when you have a new game, and going forward, I'm going to compare this game to 06. That's the only thing I know how to do. And when you go up to play now, we could talk about, of course, they're going to update uniforms, jerseys. They're going to update stadiums. I don't know in terms of stadiums what they've updated, but I can at least tell you about some jerseys that I think they've updated and they've actually paid attention to and that they've fixed. A good example is like Duke. If you've ever played with Duke before, their home uniforms are terrible in that they got black numbers, which makes no sense. Well, at least in this game, they fixed it. That's a clean-looking uniform right there. I like the white numbers. The away uniforms, it looks good there. Their alternates look pretty slick as well. At least they fixed it. At least you can read it. So at least they paid attention to that. Another good example is like Kansas. I thought it was kind of funny. A lot of these are basketball schools. But I noticed with Kansas's jersey in 06, they used a navy blue on everything, which made no sense because they're not a navy blue palette. They are like a royal blue. And look at here. They actually fixed it. I like that. They actually paid attention to it. So it's good that they updated little stuff like that. You can think of some other jerseys. Hawaii, I saw they kind of made a little change to their away uniforms. Look pretty slick. Looks pretty cool. Stuff like that. Again, in terms of stadiums, I'm not really sure, but this is natural. When you go into a newer game, they're going to have updated jerseys and all that good stuff. I know that's a big deal for a lot of people. It's not a huge deal for me, but I still notice it. It's not a game breaker. But at least you know that they're going to have better uniforms in 07 than you would to 06. Okay? We'll get into game modes a little bit later. Let's just go through the main menu first. Let's go to game features. Let's talk about my favorite thing to talk about, which is playbooks. You go to playbooks, 07, they simply have more, bigger, better things in 07 in terms of your playbooks. 06 has 9 sets for a custom playbook. You get 12 in 07, which is really cool. I'm all for that. Now, I created a custom playbook, as you see here. In 06, there are 3, technically 5 wide or empty. We can say this. There are 3 empty formations in 06. In 07, there are 13. I can only get 12 on here because I only have 12 slots. But there is a 13th one. That's incredible. On top of that, you could go through all of these. They have more formations than I just originally thought. It's ridiculous, all the different ones they have. And all the plays are different. So that's the one thing with 06. They really simplified the formations. Everybody that had I normal is going to have the same 18 plays. In 07, that is not the case for sure. Everybody has their own unique playbook. And another reason why I bring this up is I need everybody to pay attention to this one. I need an ISO file for 07. If any of you like to play this on the emulator, if you have the ISO file for 07, please contact me, email me. I'd love a copy of that. Yes, I could take my disc and try to burn it and create an ISO file. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I know there's an 07 ISO file out there somewhere. Somebody has it. It may be online. I'm not sure. I need to check it. But I need that so I can take that and get my playbook information and throw it on the website. I want to put all the playbooks in 07 onto the website. It'll take me forever, but I want to do it. I just need the ISO file to do it. So again, if you have that ISO file, please let me know so I can get a copy of that and I can start adding that stuff to the website. Okay, so back to the playbooks. It's ridiculous what all they got. Big thing here, the biggest addition, besides just plenty of extra stuff, is pistol. Everybody's a big pistol. They've always wanted to try to use some of that. It's not in 06. Well, it's in 07. I think there are 7 or 8 pistol formations. Not all of them are actually listed here. You see here they got big bunch, slot, strong gauge twins, trips, twin tight end wide receiver, wide trips, and that's it. But if you go to the Nevada playbook, they're the ones who started the whole pistol thing. They got like an unbalanced formation in there, and they also got pistol trio. So not all of them are listed. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to show all the playbooks. The only way I know how to do that is to literally go through every playbook and take a picture of every single play. And I'm going to do that. It'll just take me forever, but at least we'll know what's all in the game. But it's ridiculous what all they got in here. This is the reason why I'll ever come back to playing this game or any other game. Playbooks. Awesome stuff. Audibles, nothing's really changed here from what I can tell. You just pick your 5. Of course, you can do quick audibles in the game. I don't use that a whole lot, but they're in there if you want to use them. Create a school, player, sign, all that's normal. Let's go to single A rosters. This is pretty standard stuff. I like the new format. It's a tad bit more organized, but you're not getting any new information here. It just shows all your standard players for every team, all that good stuff. All that's fine. Pretty normal stuff. I do have the roster files for these, as you can tell. These are the actual players. I got them for single A and double A. Now, we need to talk about the double A for a minute. Let's go to double A rosters. I've been told, I haven't confirmed this, but I've been told in 07 they used the exact same roster files for 06 for the double A. I guess they got lazy with it. They just decided, hey, let's just put the exact same rosters in 07. And apparently that's what they've done. If they have, that's kind of lazy on their part. That's not a big deal for me. I don't really care because I don't deal a whole lot with the double A schools. And besides, it doesn't matter. I mean, especially if you're in Dynasty Mode, all that's inconsequential what you get in like your second season. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. But it is what it is on that. Historical rosters, we can also talk about that. I don't know if they've added any new historical rosters, but they also fixed the jerseys for those. A good example is if you go back in NCAA 06 and you go to like the 95 Nebraska team, their jersey numbers were like gray. Here, they are white. They look perfect. That's what it's supposed to look like. So again, they updated and have fixed, apparently, most of the jerseys in 07. So I just wanted to point that out. And go back to features. Okay, I think I'm done talking about all this here. My NCAA, nothing really changed here. In terms of instant classics, I think it was called Greatest Games in 06. I mean, it's the same thing, though. Let's talk about settings. Going forward, any exhibition, dynasty, all that good stuff, here's the settings I'm going to use. No different than in 06, but it's actually going to be, I'll just get to it. We're going to do Heisman. I'm going to start at Heisman. There's no point in me going any lower. Because, again, 07 feels a whole lot like 06. Biggest thing I want to show you is the AI sliders. I'm going to put everything at default Heisman. Here, offense for human, or everything for the human is going to be at 50%. Same for the CPU. That way, we will know after 100 plus videos of me playing exhibition games, dynasty, whatever. You're going to see what this game is like at default Heisman, and then I can work off of that. After a bunch of games, if I feel like I need to adjust something, I will. But I want to start at default Heisman first, just so you guys can see what I want to do there. We can also talk about controller layout. They've improved some things here. They added extra jukes. You can see here, there's a juke left and a juke right, L1 and R1, but those are completely different than the ones in 06. In 06, they were the humongous jukes, a humongous 2-yard step to the left or a 2-yard step to the right. That is designated now to the right joystick. The ones that are L1 and R1, it's really quick. It's like little small steps. Now, you can go to the classic, and I think it switches that over, but I like the default. Biggest reason why I like the default layout is because if you know in 06, when you're on offense, what's your speed button? It's X. What's your speed button on defense? It's circle. Why would they change that? I mean, why would they have two different buttons for that? I don't know. You get used to it in 06. I've gotten used to it. In 07, it's the X button. It is what it is. You go to defense, let's see, sprint X. Makes sense. You go on offense, sprint X. So at least they simplified that. There's a couple other little small things they fixed, but we'll get that into other videos. Let's talk about NCAA tutorials. Now, these are very important. I do not have an instruction manual to this game. I don't have the case. That's the last thing I'm missing in my collection is the NCAA 07 physical case and the instruction manual. I'd like to get that, throw that up on the website. But for now, what I think I may do in the future is I may record video of every single one of these tutorials. They're very helpful, especially Campus Legend and Special Teams. Special Teams got a complete makeover. Biggest complaint I get from people on why they don't like to run Heisman on 06 is because the kick meter. It's just too hard. I understand. I even have a hard time with it at times. I just got to do it a million times just to kind of get the hang of it. They got rid of it. You now got the right joysticks type stuff. It's much simpler. They also got the onside kick thing, which is really cool. We'll get into that in another video, I guess. But again, I think I'm going to do future videos. We're just going to cover every single one of these. I think it'll be useful. I'm going to put that on the channel and on the website. So make sure you look out for that. EA Sports Extras, that's just trailers and junk. Nobody cares. Okay, now let's talk about game modes. I'm going to just briefly gloss over these. First off, Campus Legend. This mode is 10 times better than the one in 06. I'll just go ahead and tell you now, for those who've never played it before. Race for the Heisman in 06, it's so bare bones, it's practically Dynasty Mode. There's no new thing to it. You just, yes, you're controlling one player, but you're still recruiting players, and it's just goofy. I don't know why there's not a whole lot to it. In Campus Legend, they added a whole new component to it, and so what I think I may want to do is do a little mini-series on Campus Legend. Let's create a player, and let's put through him all the drills and whatnot. And speaking of that, Coursers Play Online, you can't do that because the servers, they no longer exist. We'll cover Dynasty Mode here in a minute, but let's talk about spring drills because that directly relates to Campus Legend. Some of these were in 06, but they have been amplified to the nth degree in this game. On offense, there are a ton of these. Again, I think I want to do a future video series just on Campus Legend, but a lot of these are really cool. I also want to do a video on just me playing all these. Maybe I have some tips for you, how to have better pocket presence or how to execute this drill better than, than some others. All these are really cool, and they're actually useful, especially if you do Campus Legend. So we're going to maybe do that in a future video. Rivalry game, it is what it is. Mascot, same thing. Scrimmage, this is the other big bonus that a lot of people like. They're real big on the spring game in Dynasty Mode. And I thought it was just okay, but I've discovered a couple things that I completely forgot, or I just didn't know to begin with. But the scrimmages, the spring game in this game is actually impactful. It actually has some importance. And we'll cover that here in a minute. But the scrimmage, that's all that is. That is the spring game. If you just want to practice your spring game, I don't know. It's there if you want to deal with it. We'll get into practice here in a little bit. Let's talk about Dynasty Mode for a little bit. There's a couple things I want to show you. Just off the tip of my tongue, fresh off my mind, here are some things that I just kind of noticed. Nothing is new here. Let's just go into beginning a new dynasty. And then I'll show you what happens at the end of the season. There's a couple things I just wanted to cover. Let it do its thing here. They didn't change a whole lot to recruiting in Dynasty Mode in general to 07 compared to 06, which is fine by me. I think 06's Dynasty is great. They got enough in there, but they did add a few things which makes this probably a little bit better than 06 in terms of they just got new stuff. Of course, we talked about the spring game, but let's talk about some other things. Let's go to preseason options. Let's talk about the schedule. The scheduling in 07 is a whole lot better than 06. If you think about 06, how many bye weeks did you have? What, 4? If you think about it, towards the end of your season, how many bye weeks? You had week 15, week 16. You had like 3 to 4 bye weeks, which was a bit goofy. That is done away with. The most weeks you're going to have is up to 14. So there's what, 1, 2, only 2 bye weeks, which this is more realistic than what was in 06. Also, what is more realistic is now you have to play 12 games. In 06, you could play 11. 07, you're forced to play 12, which I like. I'm all down for that. This is great. So all that is fixed in this game. That's just good. Redshirting, nothing is new here. You just redshirt players. One thing I did notice when I was going through here, and that guy spelled his name wrong, whoever done these rosters. Offensive captain actually shows you at the top who is actually an offensive captain. Let's see who's the defensive captain. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, Marvin Mitchell's defensive captain. I thought that was cool that they added that little small tidbit. Okay, pretty neat. Let's talk about my favorite addition. Practice mode in Dynasty Mode. Makes so much sense. Obvious addition. You can actually practice with your current team. This is like a godsend for me. I completely forgot this was in here. But now I can actually practice my offenses and my defenses with my Season 8 team. That makes so much sense that they included that. So kudos to 07 for having that in there. Obvious addition. Okay, let's talk about in-season recruiting. Honestly, I could not find anything new with regards to in-season recruiting. Everything looks completely the same to me. You still have your 12 scholarships available. Once you put those 12 on whoever, you got your percentage points. All that's the same, which is fine. I think in-season recruiting, I think it works just fine as is. But I just kind of want to throw that out there to you, that it is available, or it's the same as from what I could tell. One thing I was kind of looking for was, for example, defensive tackles. I wanted to see if there were more 300-plus pounder type defensive tackles, and there are from what I saw. We may not see any here, but I saw in another one. Here's a 305, 310, 315. I mean, they're still in there. You're not going to hardly find any 350 pounders. You may have to go get athletes to do that. But at least it seems like they've added a few more. One thing I did notice is you're not going to see any really freak circus type players. I doubt you'll ever see the 8-inch man anymore. You know what I'm talking about. Also, when it comes to receivers, are you going to see 6'9", 6'10 guys? I think they toned that down a little bit, which is probably for the best. I think it's cool you could get a 6'9 receiver, but let's be honest, there's hardly any of them out there. And in 06, there was a ton. A whole lot more than need to be. As you can see here, the tallest guy I saw is 6'5". There's several 6'5 guys, but that's kind of it. Yeah, I'm not seeing any crazy size type receivers. Little stuff like that. It seemed like they tuned it up a little bit in this game. I want to go out of that. And ESPN the magazine, I don't see anything new here. Just your typical stuff. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of difference between 06 and 07 in terms of Dynasty Mode in general. Coach options, they didn't change much here. You have to hit R2 again to go to your defensive stuff, but that's not a big deal. You still got your recruiting assistants. That's normal. One thing I did wanted to show you was I went ahead and simulated the first season of a Dynasty. I want to show you some of the off-season stuff. So I didn't want to bore you with me trying to simulate any of this, but I wanted to show you a couple things I noticed once you get to the off-season. So let's go to Dynasty Mode. Let's load up a Dynasty file. Let's go to the first one. And I've simulated up to the end of the first season. And one thing I did wanted to show you, there's two things in this file, then we'll go to another file. Okay, first thing I wanted to show you was, let's talk about an issue that 06 had that a lot of people complained about, and I understand. And that is ridiculously high throwing or completion percentages for quarterbacks. In 06, how many quarterbacks had 70+ percentage? It's a bit unrealistic if you ask me. I get it. You can't change sliders to fix that. That's just ingrained into the system that it was just really high. Did 07 fix that? Well, let's see here. This is something I wanted to test and see if it was back to at least a little bit more normal than it was before. Again, there shouldn't be 20+ guys with 70% completion percentage. So what we're going to do, let's go to NCAA All. Let's go here and passing. And let's sort the column completion percentage. Okay, what do we have here? The highest is 67%. That's more realistic. 67, and if you go down here, they have maybe 20 quarterbacks that went up above 60%. That is much more realistic than what is in 06. I'm sure you all can agree with me there. So anybody who did not like that in 06, well, it was fixed in 07. So I'm glad to see that updated here. So I wanted to show that to you. Now let's talk about the other thing I want to show you. This is a couple of new additions to off-season. Biggest thing was the spring game. I'm not going to go through that here. We can do a separate video of that in another video. Let's go here. Let's go to that other Dynasty file. We'll go here and we can talk about the spring game out of the gate. That was the biggest addition to the offseason besides to Dynasty, besides the practice mode, which again was just a genius, obvious addition. We'll go here and we can go to offseason schedule. Now, in terms of recruiting, there's not much different. I didn't see hardly any difference whatsoever. So there's really not a whole lot to talk about there. As you can see here, I've already simulated the spring game. We went through that. Spring game, apparently when you're playing the game, players can increase their attributes, their ratings, depending on how well they do. So let's talk about that. Let's go to training results. And that's why training results is after the spring game, because if you look at the very bottom, here's the biggest addition by far. Select MVPs. You click on that. Select an offense and defensive MVP for the spring. Players chosen as MVPs will begin next season as impact players. You can actually choose your impact players. I didn't know this was here. I'm honestly, I do not remember them having this option. But it's cool that you can actually have that. How many times in your dynasty have you been upset over why do they put an impact thing on this guy? How many backup quarterbacks had an impact status? It made no sense whatsoever. You could choose, you can at least choose 2. You know, you have a maximum of 3 of impact players on a team, but at least you could choose your top 2. So, you know, here's Tennessee. We like to run the ball. Our best offensive player, obviously, is Arian Foster. I want him to be an impact guy. Defensively, maybe I'm a big 4-2-5 guy, and I want my strong safeties or somebody, you know, maybe I want my corner to be the impact guy. You could do that now. That's super cool that it's in here. And again, I completely forgot that it had it. So now I understand why the spring game is so important. It actually affects this because, again, some of these guys' attributes can go up a little bit after the spring game depending on how well they play. On top of, you can pick your impact players. Awesome. That was the biggest thing I wanted to show you there. Everything else is standard, is the same as in 06. Okay? So let's get out of that. Let's go to end this video. Let's go to practice mode. Let's talk about just a few small things. Again, I want to do separate videos. We can cover some of this stuff more in detail. Let's go out of here and let's go to practice mode. And we could beat Tennessee and we go against South Carolina. It doesn't really matter. I just want to... We can play in Neyland Stadium. That's fine. Not a big deal. Let's go afternoon. Okay. And Playbook. Oh, gosh. I mean, what's the best way to prove my point here? Let's just go pick the run and shoot playbook out of Hawaii. I think I can prove my point at a couple spots here. A couple things I wanted to cover. First of all, the biggest improvement that I've seen concept-wise is the curl flat in 07. They made it better, the flat and the curl, especially the curl. We'll talk about that. As you see on the screen, slide protection. We're going to talk a little bit about that. That's a good bonus, a good addition. Hopefully I can demonstrate how well it works. We'll see how that goes. But here's the run and shoot playbook from Hawaii's. And they actually got some really cool run and shoot stuff in here. But let's talk about the curl flat first. Let's go to gun spread and let's pick 4-16 flat. I love the addition. They've done a dig instead of a curl on the other end. That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay. We'll pick 4-16 flat. Now let's talk about defense while we're here. South Carolina, I think they run a multiple defense. Now, they also show the defense some love in terms of formations. Here's 4-3 stack. You also have 4-3 over. 4-3 over, if you notice number 53, your right outside linebacker, he now goes down to the line. This pretty much negates you having to do any hard shifting with your linebackers to defensive line like you see me do all the time. I'm always motioning, when I'm running a zone blitz, I like to move my defensive line away from the tight end. Here, you don't really have to do that as often anymore, at least from the 4-3, and I'm pretty sure from the 3-4 as well. Now, again, South Carolina, they run a multiple defense, I think. So, the 4-3 under is in this game. They're just not in this particular playbook. The 46 Bear, if you're a big 85 Bear fan, Chicago Bears, you could run the 46 in here if you wanted to. 3-4 under. There's also 3-4 stack, 3-4 over, 3-4 solid, I guess is what it's called instead of stack. Then they got the 5-2, then you got the nickel, the dime, then you got 3-2-6, then you got quarters 3 deep. They added a whole lot of other new formations to the defense as well, which is really cool. Okay, we're going up against, let's just go up against a nickel. We'll go up against random formation, okay? Let me fix my joystick here. Okay. All right, there you are, going man. Again, the curl flat is no different than an 06. Your curl is your man beater and your flat your zone beater. The curl is much easier to complete this time around. We can go here. It won't get picked off as often. Let's see, they're going zone here. We can go to the flat. The flat doesn't get bogged down as much. In 06, sometimes we'll put our trigger or our toggle on this guy right here. Sometimes when he catches the ball, he may slow down and it takes him forever to cut up field. They've practically gotten rid of that in 07. I still see it every now and then, but nowhere near as much. But here's a perfect example. He cuts right up field for a decent game. Okay, let's see. They're going here. They're going zone again. And here is a perfect example. You see great jump listed right there. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Jump to snap. This is usually the biggest reason why I don't play as much of 07 through 11. It's because jump to snap, I think the feature, it's an annoyance. But I'm looking at it from a different perspective. It's not just a pure negative. I got to remember, you're on defense as well. Jump to snap can work in your favor. Also, if you remember what we just saw here, the defense got a great jump. But I was not feeling any pressure. You still got to adjust in the pocket. You still got to work around that. But I had plenty of time to throw, to do my thing. So just because you see a great jump doesn't mean one of your offensive linemen is going to get slammed to the ground. You still may get good protection off of that. Also, you got slide protection. I'd love to be able to see. You can hit L1. You can spread them out, pinch left and right. Very helpful. We can do that here. Let's just slide it to the left, and I'll show you what we're talking about here. Go to the dig right there. Okay, I slid my line to the left. Look what the line does when you snap it. They all shift to the left. That's awesome. So whenever you see the defensive line shift to the left, just slide your protection over. This is probably going to be more useful against when you're passing the ball. I don't know how effective it is when you're running the ball. I haven't played it enough. Hopefully I'll figure that out in time. But it's cool to see your offensive line shift like that. It helps if the defense shifts on one side. Really cool to see that. Here they're going zone. Okay, they're shifting to the left. Let's see what happens if we slide to the left. Do we get better protection? Looks like they went with the defensive end spy, which is fine. But as you can tell, we slid to the left, and we got good protection. Of course, they went with a max zone here, as you can tell. But we still had plenty of time to do what we needed to do. So the biggest thing I wanted to show you there was, again, the curl flat. They updated it. There are other things they've updated. We can cover that in another video. But the biggest thing I wanted to show you was jump the snap. It's going to annoy me at times, but I'm not going to let it stop me from enjoying a game that may be really worth diving into. And I think this game is worth sinking my teeth into. I want to put like 100 videos of 07 stuff in here. That way I can really figure out, okay, this is the game I really need to put effort into. Find all the nooks and crannies, and hopefully you guys can use that on your end. Okay? While we're here, this is the run and shoot playbook. They got some cool stuff. They got some actual run and shoot stuff. They don't have option routes, but they didn't have the option routes in the PlayStation 2 games anyways. They had them in the PS3 game. They didn't work all that great from what I remember, but that's okay. But you got like the drive concept. They've used that. Let me look for one here. What's the other one? Wheelie curl. Excellent. You got a curl flat on the right, and you got a wheelie curl on the left. Then you got split in drag, wheelie smash. This is prototypical. Run and shoot. They love their the switch concept on one side and doing something different on the other. Here we got smash on one side and switch on the other. Really cool. Then you got pure. They just call that pure switch. That's more levels concept than anything else. But every playbook in this game is completely different. Again, that's why I stressed earlier, if anybody has an ISO file for 07, please let me know so I can start adding all the playbooks onto the website so we all can use that stuff. Because I'm here to tell you, every single playbook is so different from one another. It's insane. But, I mean, you can go to Ace Spread. We could talk about, I think they had some different stuff in here from us. They got Sweat. Here's Drive from Ace Spread. Safe, what was the other one? Oh, I thought they had something else. Split in drag as well. Then you go to 4 wide receiver trips. They just got some new stuff in here that I really like. Inside switch. Look at that. The swing routes out for halfbacks are excellent in this game. I love them. Then, we could talk, air raid. We could get out here. Y stick, Y corner, mesh, shallow from Z, X, H, Y. They're all in this game. You don't know how excited I am about just fooling around with some of this stuff. I know that this stuff has been in here. I've known it for a long time, but I've always been just so 06 heavy, and it's been hesitant to dive in because of the other annoyances that I have with this game. But I'm just willing to just get over it. And I just want to try new things. So again, air raid, it's all in here. You go back to the playbooks. Let me try to find, we go down to Texas Tech. I know we can try there. And we can look at some of their plays. Just to show you that it's in here. And we go to Audibles. We can go here, and I'm trying to find, let's see. I think this formation had most of them. Double flex, maybe? We can look here. But here, like Delta, that is pure Y corner on the right there. Awesome. That is prototypical air raid stuff. And look, they even have halfback angle from gun spread. That's awesome. Or double flex, whatever it's called. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it wasn't from this one. It was from Spread Flex maybe had it. Let's see. Z shallow cross. Look at that. That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I could do so much damage with that play right there. Let's keep going. Y, there it is. Y stick. There it is in all its glory. Then you got a drag post. You got a go post on the left with a shallow coming over. That's awesome. Look, there it is. Mesh, the holy grail of air raid concepts. It's right there. And it's got a swing route with a Y corner or a Z corner. That's incredible. It's all there. That gets me so excited because air raid's probably my favorite offense to talk about and to study. But it's all right there. Then you could get into other offenses. Let's talk about, let's go back out of here. I want to go no. Let's go back to playbooks. Let's talk about like your spread option stuff. I think, let's see, this was, let's go to Florida's playbook. I think it has as good example as any. Go up to here. And I know a lot of you guys already know about this stuff, but just humor me for a little bit. Let's go back up to the audibles for it, and let's check out some of the plays. We can go here, and we can go, like, I'll look at some of these slot F trips. You can go right here. Motion wide receiver option. It's triple option. It's your spread stuff. Zone read. I wonder, QB wrap. This is a great play. This is you could treat it as dart. I don't know if you know what that means. It's just like a pulling tackle, and it's just up the gut. But it's actually a zone read in a way. You can keep it with the quarterback, or you can hand it off to your running back. Really cool stuff. It's got halfback zone. It's actually a pretty decent run play. I know the offensive line is slanting towards the right. Sometimes those zone runs don't work all that great. But in this game, they work halfway decent. It's not bad. But it's just little stuff like that gets me excited about just wanting to sink my teeth into this. And I think we've all come to the conclusion that I'm pretty good with 06. I feel like I've about mastered that game, and I want to move on and try to explore other things. That way it can help you maybe want to play this game and figure out some stuff on your end as well. Hopefully my videos can do that for you. But, I mean, you could just do a whole lot more stuff with 07. And again, I feel like 07 is the closest thing I can get to 06 in terms of the feel of the gameplay while still adding new additions. Not all of them are great. Most of them are, though, as you can see throughout this video. Okay, so again, going forward, what we're going to do is, in the next video, I'll go back to my Mississippi State Dynasty. That is unless you guys want me to do just a whole lot more 07, but I'd rather go back to alternate. People seem to enjoy the Mississippi State Dynasty, even though it's going a little too well, but again, I'm just really good with 06. But with 07, alternating, going back and forth, going forward, we're going to break down. We may do a complete video on... we're going to do a series on Campus Legend. Then we're going to go into some other concepts. I want to do exhibition games where we can break down an entire offense. Let's do the air raid for an hour. Let's do the flexbone option, triple stuff. Let's do run and shoot, whatever. The world is our oyster. We got to do whatever we want to here. But hopefully in time, once I do enough of the 07 videos, and I get to the point where I'm tired of doing Mississippi State Dynasty, I may just translate over and we'll just do a straight up 07 Dynasty. I think that'd be a good idea. So hopefully you all are excited about this. Again, put in the comment section maybe what you want to see in 07, what you want me to cover going forward, because there's a lot to cover, and I want to break it all down. It's going to take me forever, but I think it's worth it. That way we at least all know what you like and what you don't like about this particular game. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.